Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Imagine More. It's been a long hiatus. This is something that we did not plan, me and Seth, but we're back and we're coming with a lot of energy, and we have a lot to talk about. This has been a crazy 3 weeks, and so we look forward to getting caught up with you guys today. How you been, Seth?
I've been pretty good actually. We've been busy a lot. These last few weeks have been
Mm-hmm.
a lot at my job, so I feel like we've been struggling to find time to stream. But so much
Yeah,
has been
man.
happening in the world, like across the board. Like every single day, there's a new thing that's just as crazy as the last. And, I mean, that was the intention, right? Remember, they're just gonna do as much shit as possible in the first few weeks or whatever, and then people can't keep track of all the stuff they passed and changed.
Yeah, right.
So this is expected.
Yeah, it's been one
Yeah.
crazy. It's been one crazy last month. I mean, I honestly cannot. I cannot even keep up with the news. Honestly, it's just so much happening over and over and over that
Yeah.
it's just hard to keep up. Um, but yeah, man, what anything stood out to you these last couple weeks that was like kind of crazy?
Well, today was it today with the Tesla,
It was yesterday. Yeah,
we'll say car
yesterday.
dealership. It was yesterday.
Yeah, the car dealership in the
That's
front lawn.
that's yeah, crazy overt corruption. Like his Tesla stocks are going bad, so the president of the United States is telling you to buy Tesla and promoting and selling cars on live TV. Dude, the president of the United States should not be a salesman for anybody's personal profits.
Yeah, right. Especially the
But
guy.
you know,
That's the guy who's trying to clean up a government
yeah, allegedly, yeah.
from wasteful spending. But yeah, we spent 2 hours watching you promote Tesla.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. And did you see the part where he was like, he got in the car, he's like, "Wow, everything's computer."
Yeah, that was
He's just
hilarious.
like he's
Yeah,
yeah, he's crazy.
yeah, man, he's
But
crazy
you know, we have
because
a global recession.
wait, global
Oops, sorry,
recession.
a little lag there.
That's fine. You're saying go
Oh,
ahead. You were
oh,
saying
did you?
about
We're not global, not global, but we are headed towards a recession,
you
and
see it coming, huh?
we're gonna cause the same economic. What was that?
You see it coming?
We glitching?
No, no, no. I hear you.
Oh, it's no, it's on the way.
What did
Like
it?
the markets are dropping $1 trillion a day.
What? So the market fell today. I've been to hearings all day. I haven't followed the news. The market fell
It
today.
was more yesterday. It's on
Yeah,
the
the market fell
yeah,
pretty heavy yesterday. That was a
yeah.
serious drop. But today, let me look at the S&P. It seemed like it was a down. The Dow went up. Um, yeah, yeah, you're right. So it was a slight drop. I mean, it wasn't as bad as the first day, but I think people are just the trade wars. They're kind of scary. It's like it's kind of scary because
Yeah.
we already have high prices, and yeah, he's trying to you know do I think it's in April reciprocal tax on all the goods, and so what he's essentially doing is like, hey, well, if Canada taxes at 25%, we're going to go back and tax them at 25%. Yeah, the thing about that is that it drives up more of the cost. If things are expensive and our wages are stagnant, where are we going to get this extra money for these tariff wars? Because we don't have it.
Yeah.
So I think that scared the market. That literally was like the market was like, yeah, people don't have money, and you're asking people to essentially hang in there with you while you try to, I guess, balance our budget of trade deficits, and it's not even an issue really,
Yeah.
you know. And I hear,
No, he's making the problem worse.
yeah, and I heard some of his supporters like, we can weather the storm. I'm like, no, you can't. You're the people that most of his supporters are the ones who cannot afford any more inflation. And it's like we can weather the
Yeah.
storm, yeah, really, but you can't because well, you're gonna pay if egg is $16 now. What are you gonna pay $30 for eggs because you want to help Trump in his tariff wars? It's like and like I think that Justin Trudeau said it best.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, well, I'm just saying, I don't think that this is anything to do with trade, anything to do with trade deficit. This is Trump is known about what tariffs do.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of different times he's had appearances, and they've been like, uh, they tell him exactly what a tariff is. It's a tax on consumers. It's not a tariff on Chinese that Chinese people are paying, anything like that.
Yeah.
This is not to, right any wrongs. This is intentional for him to manipulate the stock markets because when the stock markets are low,
Mm-hmm.
or the stock crashes and the prices are low, then all of his billionaire buddies know the right time to all buy it up at once.
Yeah.
And, and then he can reverse his tariffs, make the rest of the, at least give a little bit of a bump in the direction, at least to move it in the direction so that all stocks start to rise. And, then people that bought his stocks low with his, direction are
Mm-hmm.
going to make millions, billions. It's going to be a great wealth transfer from the middle class, people who have smaller investments all the way into like the hands of a more concentrated, smaller group.
Mm-hmm.
He's created an oligarchy with intention. He's trying to concentrate in the money and power in the least amount of hands as possible so that he can control them and he can control everything.
But I guess
But
how does he achieve that with tariffs though?
because he's controlling the stock market, like I was saying.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's gonna crash it one day and then reverse his decision, let the markets heal, that's gonna,
Are you telling me the president is doing stock manipulation?
yes,
Wow.
he is intentionally. That's the whole purpose of the tariffs thing. That's the whole reason why all these tech bros have gotten behind him, despite knowing how economic works. They know that tariffs are bad for the economy.
Mm.
They're not stupid. They're rich people. They have a lot of good advisors.
Yeah.
But market crashes are always good for billionaires and millionaires because, you know, in 2008, the only people that suffered was working class people. It wasn't the people, the bankers. It wasn't the investors. They're always secured.
Mm-hmm.
They're always the first ones protected in our system.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is intentional stock manipulation. It's making Trump money. It's going to make Elon Musk money, except for the fact that he's become so unpopular. There's nothing he could do to get people to invest in Tesla now.
Yeah. Right.
But you know, all the other people, all the other oligarchs are, they're making money off this for sure. It might take a little bit of time, but overall, in the next few years, they're going to be even richer than they were today. And we're going to be struggling, and prices are going to increase.
Mm-hmm.
It also gives a reason for price gouging. You know, you don't have to raise your prices in accordance to market, market responses. You know what I mean? It's not always supply and demand. Sometimes you just see an excuse to raise your prices and something to blame it on.
Yeah.
Well, tariffs. It gives a reason for them to just decide whatever they're going to charge, and they can just blame it on Trump or whatever. But really, it's just profit. It's, greed, profit seeking, and behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing new.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing new, but I think that what's new about this is the extent at which he's willing to do the stock manipulation. I mean, just the chaos it causes. Just the chaos it causes in the world. It's just it's crazy, and it's not like you know it's not just the tariffs. It's also the lack of support for Ukraine and the pro Russia stance.
Yeah.
It just throws our whole world like, what is going on? Wait, I thought we were for Ukraine. Now we're for Russia. And it's like it's
Well, he's completely gone against like all of European allies too. He's attacking the European Union. He's attacking all of our trade partners, NATO.
mhm.
There's not really anybody on our side. He's moving closer to the, you know, the axis of evil, as they say,
Yeah.
than ever before. The United States has never been aligned with dictatorships like this.
Yeah, and he seems to be all in favor for it, right? It seems like he
No, I
all
mean it's
everybody.
intentional.
You think it's well? I think it's definitely intentional in terms of like
Yeah.
um
It's not just because he's a fool. That's what I'm saying. It's easy to attribute incompetence and lack of intelligence to Trump,
mhm.
but a lot of the dumb shit you see is very intentional. And he knows the kind of reactions he's going to get, and he knows the kind of power it's going to get him. And, he does things with devious intentions,
Yeah.
but intentions nonetheless.
No, I mean I definitely think that he's doing it intentionally. I just don't think that when I mean by intentionally, I'm thinking that he's doing it because he's trying to follow the what was that plan called? The 2025 plan. The Republicans came out with
Project
Project
2025. Yeah.
2025. I think he's kind of playing that playbook. When he said he wasn't, but he's definitely
Yeah.
using that playbook.
I mean, he really is not the person making the calls in this presidency at
No,
all.
no, no.
As you saw yesterday with him literally reading it off of a script, reading an ad they talked a lot of shit about Joe Biden being a puppet for this and that, and
Yeah.
the deep state. And
Mm-hmm.
Trump is the most puppet president we've ever seen. Maybe George Bush competes with him but when you have somebody who lacks political knowledge and lacks any sort of moral will or any, you know, good intentions at all, you can kind of get whatever you need from them, especially if what you desire is power. I mean, Trump was literally facing prison time.
Yeah.
So he gave up anything he could get in order to win. And they definitely did some dark shit. There's a lot of stuff in the election that gives me a lot of pause. And I don't know if I consider U.S. elections to be legitimate these days, with the influence that money has over who gets to vote
Mm-hmm.
and Starlink voting systems owned by Elon Musk. And
Starlink has voting
uh,
systems.
also the way, yeah, in Pennsylvania and Arizona, there was like the voting machines were literally owned by Elon Musk.
Oh wow.
There's a whole speech where Trump is like, oh, and Elon's great. He knows those computers. He knows those voting systems better than anyone, and we won. And I have him to thank or something like that. Like they stole the election.
Mm-hmm.
I still think it was close. I think it would have gone. It could have gone either way, kind of thing. But without a doubt, the amount of votes suppressed, this election was invalid.
Yeah.
It's not the same as the accusations uh, that Republicans levy. It's not like the rigged thing, but they're very notorious for projecting. So when they talk about like, oh, it doesn't matter who or how many people show up to vote, it only matters who counts the vote. That's something they kept repeating.
Yeah.
Alluding to maybe that Joe Biden was counting the votes or whatever, but in reality, they're talking about what they're planning to do in 2024.
Yeah.
Which was they were going to make sure that the right votes, the ones they consider valid, were counted. That's why staffers in Georgia were, reporting Black and Latino votes. Just look on names, lists of names, and they claim that these are illegal or whatever, and they had to be reviewed.
Mm-hmm.
So thousands in each of the swing states, votes were just thrown out. There's literally like 3.5 million people that had voted that did not have their votes counted. And I'm sure that there's some of them that were, incomplete in some way or another.
Yeah.
But so many of them were just
Hanging chads.
thrown out, and then they sent what was that?
I was saying like hanging chads and stuff like that. Hanging
Yeah,
chats, like yeah.
exactly. I mean the 2000, yeah, 2000,
Yeah.
the 2000 election also was rightfully for Gore,
Mm-hmm.
and it was decided by the Supreme Court. Republicans have to play the strategy; they're not the majority anymore.
That's true.
So
No, it's
for 2028, I mean,
2028. What?
just saying the momentum is all on the side of the Democrats, as long as they actually are able to vote legitimately.
No, I think the momentum is on the side of Democrats, but I don't want us to get overconfident because I think the reason
Yeah,
why it's on our side is because he's doing so much at one time. It just seems like chaos.
yeah,
You know, and once things clear up, I don't know what it looks like on the other end. So it's like, yeah, people are wanting him out now, but that's because he just seems chaotic. Like, he's in Ukraine, he's starting terror wars, he's telling Cubans and Haitians not to fly to America. He's doing
yeah,
some crazy. It's just like he's everywhere, and it's like, well, dude, what do you? Most presidents, when they get in the office, they focus on one thing. This guy's focused on like six things at one time. Like I think
yeah,
some like a MAGA um, commentator was saying that as like he's doing so much, he just needs to calm down and just do one thing. He just fired half of the
yeah.
Department of Education. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean the Biden administration would spend like 2 months, 3 months just talking about one bill, and they keep, you know, whipping votes here and left and right, and but never actually getting enough votes to pass anything. And we spend so much time
Mm-hmm.
in stagnancy when they had the majority. They had the majority in all three houses in all three sectors of government,
Yeah,
and yet they couldn't get anything done. Meanwhile, Republicans will just shoot left and right, just anything they could attempt, they'll try. Doesn't matter if it's going to pass. Doesn't matter if it causes problems in the courts. The distraction is enough for them to get enough stuff passed that can't get challenged constitutionally because they're already working on something else. It's something that Democrats can learn from. Obviously, we don't want to be throwing out some like horrible ideas, random, crazy, chaotic ideas. But as far as like continuously pushing an agenda, putting the Republicans on the
mm-hmm.
defense instead of like just squeaking by trying to get anything done. As long as as long as the Democrats are trying, even if stuff isn't passed, at least they have somebody to blame it
Yeah,
on. They can only blame themselves if we do nothing and try nothing for the entire 4 years we're in power. How can they expect people to come back and try to vote for Democrats when it doesn't even look like they try to do anything
yeah,
the entire time they hold power? Even if stuff does get passed, they have not done a good job historically of marketing that.
yeah. It's a terrible
So
job. Like they literally need to fire the whole marketing department.
they do. Ken was it Ken Martin?
Mm-hmm.
I think. Yeah, the new DNC chair.
Mm-hmm.
He has. I don't. I guess you could attribute it to him, but the social media accounts the last couple of days have been complete. They could clearly put somebody new in charge because they've been doing a lot better job. They've been like they put like a Zoomer in charge or somebody who's a frequent on X or Twitter. God,
Yeah,
because they're just like they're posting memes and they're posting. There's just like to the car dealership thing. They're like, there's a picture of the Cybertruck on the White House page. It was posting some picture, and the Democrats just posted like ugly ass truck, and that was all they posted, and it got a lot of attention. And I think like winning back the confidence in young people,
mm-hmm.
like showing Democrats as cool and as like actually fighting towards something or being rebelling and not just like did you see that one thing they posted and it was like things Democrats have gotten achieved since the election and it was like a giant like like column after column word list of they did this in Illinois and aggressive and it was just like a giant thing that nobody could read
Yeah,
and it just was like bragging about the small things you've achieved while the country is falling apart and not critiquing. I don't know. They just has been completely doing the wrong stuff with what's his name, Harrison, whoever our last. I just don't want to think about him anymore. Our last DNC, Jamie
yeah, yeah,
Harrison.
yeah.
He was the worst.
Well, he was a money guy.
He was absolutely
He was a money guy.
a
He
big
wasn't
money
a
guy.
marketing guy. And then,
Yeah, I mean they brought him in because during his election in South Carolina, which he lost by like nine
yeah,
percent, he raised like a $500 million or something like that. So like, oh, he can raise money. That's great. Put him in charge of
Yeah.
everything. But he lost. And that's exactly what he's been doing to the Democratic Party. He's been raising them
Hmm.
money, but they've been continuously losing. So why are we doing this Republican strategy?
I don't know because we raised a lot of money, but we did lose and we lost a close one. Right.
Being tied to capital interests doesn't win over moderates. It just scares away the
Hmm.
left. And you don't have to cater to win the left, in order to win an election, but you do want them to show out and vote
Yeah.
for you,
Most definitely.
which I do think that there's some voter manipulation. But regardless, nonetheless, the amount of people who voted for Joe Biden in 2020 who did not show up to vote at all was substantial. It was maybe election teetering. Like it could have completely shifted the entire direction of the country if she had just I don't know. You can play it safe, but you don't have to directly go after Dick Cheney, the 10 people that they got to switch from Republican Party to Democratic
Yeah.
Party. It's always been about turnout. It's always been about independence. Stop trying to win Republicans.
Yeah.
If independence and you know, if you start having an actual agenda, start pushing towards something, that will make Republicans that are unsure about their own party reconsider. Maybe you have to give them something to vote for, to
Yeah.
switch for.
Exactly.
You can't just like sound to them, and I don't know, in the wrong
I mean,
ways
that's what
too.
Trump did. It's not like Trump's a Republican. I mean, they say he's a Republican, but he's
Yeah,
not. But
he's not. I mean, he's a Republican, but he's not a conservative in a traditional sense.
yeah, he's a registered
You know what I
Republican,
mean?
but he's more liberal. It's not.
I don't know about liberal as much as he's more economically he's more economically interventionist for sure, and he's in some ways he's got some socially moderate views, but he also has some caters to the socially far right too. So he's just a mixed bag, a hodgepodge of populism that whatever gets the most attention, whatever gets him new voters, it doesn't matter. He's not ideological. He'll say anything that works, that makes
Yeah,
sense for him. So I definitely would not consider him liberal, but he's liberal in the sense that like he's a New York
I
City
think I'd say
like
he's liberal because he's not far right. He's not far left. He's just in the middle.
he's pretty far
No,
right
he
on
speak
most
he
in a lot of
speaks. Okay, so he says far right things. If you
yeah.
actually look at what he passes, they're usually never far right. They-
Yeah, I don't think his socially conservative views, like his views on like religion and like sex, like degeneracy or whatever the Republicans think, I don't think those are very conservative. Like he's not like a Christian
He's not.
conservative for
He'll
sure.
now he'll do like he does that. Oh, trans, people can't play sports. I'll sign an executive order.
Yeah.
He's only doing that for his base. That's not. He doesn't
Yeah,
care about that
exactly.
stuff.
He's an opportunist and he's a economic
Mhm.
individualist, we'll say, because he's really more concerned with his own personal power
Yeah,
and
exactly.
income than just liberate the markets for people on
Hmm.
principle. It's more like he'll do it for his buddies and donors, and he wants it for himself. But it's not like he's a principled free market dude. He doesn't clearly
No.
not. Clearly, he doesn't care about free market policies. He's a if anything, he's farther right end uh, economics than like even the libertarians because he's like uh, mercantile capitalism, like 1890s anti-free market stuff. Like he's from like an older school of conservatism than 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 normal conservatives, which are already old school ideological
Yeah.
beliefs. You know what I mean? So it just he's obsessed with like the 1870s through like the 1920s,
Yeah.
basically that whole era of politics. And I don't know. He's obviously not educated,
Well,
but
it's not modern politics.
for whatever reason, that's what was
Yeah, he's
that?
not educated on modern politics at all.
Yeah, for some reason though, he knows everything about the Gilded Age, but like from the wrong perspective.
Yeah,
So,
I may have been watching the Gilded Age show.
oh, is
Yeah,
that a
Gilded
show?
Age. Yeah, it's a show.
Oh, I never heard of. Is it like? Is it during the Gilded
Yes,
Age?
it was shot during the Gilded Age.
Oh, it wasn't shot during it, but yeah,
Yeah, well,
it was the
it's
first
the
one.
basic. It comes from the Gilded Age. Let me see.
Yeah.
Let me see what it on. It is on. If anyone's interested, it is on Max. You're finding out about
Hmm.
the Gilded Age. Gilded Age is the roaring times of America, where we had money to spend.
Yeah. Well,
Hmm?
GDP booming, but like wages shrinking, money
Yep.
concentrating, business tycoons booming,
Yep.
Rockefeller, JP Morgan,
Rockefeller, J.P.
all
Morgan.
these.
Who's the guy who made U.S. Steel? I can't think of his name, but the guy who created U.S. Steel.
Uh, I don't know, the
Yep,
Vanderbilts.
the
I don't know.
Vanderbilts,
There's a bunch of the Rothschilds.
the Rothschilds. I don't know if they're
All
not
these.
part of the Gilded Age, the Rothschilds. Cause aren't they from Britain?
I feel like they're more. I feel like they're like 1930s or something
Yeah,
like
but isn't
that.
the
Maybe.
Rothschild like?
I don't
Isn't that
know.
Europe? Are they in Europe?
No, no, I think they're American.
Rothschilds?
I'm pretty sure. Where the
Because isn't the
hell is
Gilded
my
Age only
phone?
really for Americans? Yeah,
I mean, technically it's the
yeah,
age.
that sounds like
It's like years, but it was the Gilded Age of
America. Yeah,
America.
yeah, they're Jewish, man. The Rothschilds.
That's why they're famous is because
Yeah,
the far right loves to point to them. But they've been around since forever. I mean, it's like a
the Rothschilds.
famous
Yeah,
family.
they
Yeah,
started in Germany. They're Jewish.
that's
Yeah,
not new.
yeah, they're because I studied them. I was studying for banking, investment banking, and so they're
Yeah.
like one of the founding people of that stuff. So, but yeah, they definitely started in Europe. Yeah,
Interesting.
right.
Yeah, no, they're still kicking it. They
Yeah,
still have money, all
they're
that
old
stuff.
money, man.
But
That's literally
they're less prominent in power and control than Elon Musk is.
no. I,
People talk about George Soros, but nobody talks about how Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and all these deals that are literally controlling, policy decisions and deciding Elon Musk, one billionaire, is threatening to like primary any Republican that disagrees with him. They're trying to deport legal immigrants if they are aligned with
mm-hmm.
Hamas. Just means if they're like
Pretty
Democrats.
much.
Oh, if you support a Democrat and we could technically revoke a visa, we're going to deport you. Doesn't matter what your reason is for having a green card or what legitimate thing you might be adding to the
Yeah.
country. As long as you stand in the way of, what I'm trying to get done,
Mm-hmm. You're out
you're
of
out of
here.
here. Supporting what's his name? I don't remember his name. There's some famous, it's now a famous story. He's like just some student leading some sort of the student protests in uh,
Mm-hmm.
Columbia University, and he just got kidnapped by the government. They didn't
Oh
even
yeah.
list a reason as to why.
Some,
Yeah, they didn't list a reason as to why what law he was breaking. They're just holding him against his will, just like they would do in Russia. They're calling him just like a
mm-hmm.
disappearing. You know, just got rid of the guy. He's a problem. We'll
Yeah.
get rid of him. If that could happen to him, it could happen to anybody. Just saying, anybody that stands in the way of Trump can getting rid
Yeah,
of
man.
now.
He's definitely running this country like a dictatorship, and the Republicans are letting him.
Yeah.
It's not like he is, but like the Republicans are literally saying, you know, yeah, whatever Trump says, that's what's gonna happen. Like all his nominees
Not
went through,
bad.
like every single one of them. I'm like, so not one of them got pushed back. Like,
Well, the Matt Gates.
well, he didn't. He wasn't a nominee. He was a nominee for a day, and then they switched it.
Yeah, I still think that was a conspiracy too. That was just a reason for him to resign from Congress without all his pedophile stuff.
Coming out,
Reason.
yeah.
Yeah, which it's already out, but there was probably gonna be some like court
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, I can tell you this though. I mean, literally, they're allowing him to do whatever he wants. It's like,
Yeah.
I think For me, what I mean, obviously he's always drawing a line, but one of the things, the one of the lines I think he crossed was the whole Zelensky, him and JD Vance, and in the
Oh
White House. That was insane. Like I've never seen that
yeah.
ever.
A lot of people are trying to pretend like that was a good moment for him, but he lost respect on like the global stage after that.
Yeah,
So
because I was like, man, are you gonna game up with a guy who's look? He's like, look how you dressed. He's dressed like he just came from a
yeah,
war zone. It's like you have
yeah.
on a suit.
He's dressed better than Elon Musk is
Yeah, right.
dressed.
Elon Musk shows up with like a shirt. It's like,
And then
hey, okay, guys.
and then once people pointed that out to him, and I think they were like making fun of him on SNL, stuff like that. But then the next thing you see, Elon Musk wearing a
Yeah,
suit because Trump, you know. So it does show that there is ways in which Trump can control Elon Musk because we always have the presumption that it's entirely the other way around. So it's quite interesting to see. Like, I wonder what the real power dynamic is between them. What kind of
I think
dirt Elon Musk has or holds over
I
Trump's
don't think
head
he.
to
I don't
control
think
him
he
like he
owes.
does.
Well, I don't think he has any dirt on him. I think that Elon is financed his campaign, and he's letting Elon run the
Yeah.
country. He doesn't. Uh,
But here's my thought though, like knowing Trump doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't care about Elon Musk as a person. It's not like he's very it's not like he's a man of his word. So why wouldn't he just take the money, win, and then if he didn't like Elon, just push him away from
because
him?
Elon's effectively running.
So clearly,
Elon is running the country. Um,
but why does Trump let him do
well,
that?
because
You know
Trump
what I mean?
is
If he already won,
Trump.
Trump has the power, so he could just keep Elon Musk out of the White House
Well,
entirely.
Trump's a CEO, so Trump does CEO things. Like his thing is like, I'm gonna put you in this place. You do whatever you want to do. Just don't embarrass me. And that's how he
Yeah,
runs.
but he has done that.
Huh?
He has done that though. That's the thing. They've had the thing with like the videos on all the TV screens of like Elon's or Trump sucking Elon's toes or something like that. Like all these things. Trump
Well,
is such a fragile ego. Do you think that people calling Elon the president, all this stuff, don't you think that hurts his
it.
ego? Don't you think that he would if he had already made the deal that Elon would help him become president, and he is the president, and he has the ultimate power. There's no incentive for him to keep treating Elon like
Well,
this, except for the fact that you have some sort of agreement in which Elon could damage Trump in some legitimate way if he goes against Elon. There has to be some sort of
they're
leverage.
always leverage. I mean, Russia has leverage on Trump.
Yeah,
Too. But I
exactly.
mean, but my thing is, I think Trump is really just handing him the keys of the government because that's not something he knows how to run, and he knows that, and he's like, "Hey, you run the government. I'm going to focus on the trade wars. Rubio, you focus on this carrying thing. Make sure Russia wins it at the end of the day." He didn't, and he's just what he's doing is what a CEO does. CEO put people in place. I don't care what you do. This is your responsibility. Don't make it come backfire on me. And that's how he runs it.
So you,
Hmm?
so you think he genuinely is bought into the idea that Elon's some sort of secret genius and his business acumen is a result of his intellect. So if he gives him delegates all his power or whatever, he can get more done. Is that what
No,
you think?
I don't think that. I think that
No.
Elon has a. Um, I think he has a computer system or computer generated program that allows him to go in there, look at what's money being spent, look at what they're doing with it, and saying, get rid of all this stuff. That's what I think Elon's
Yeah.
role is to go through every single department and get rid of things, get rid of things, get rid of things, get rid of things. Under the triple down, this is another form of triple down economics. I mean, Ronald Reagan did the same thing. Just didn't have a computer.
Yeah.
So Elon is doing the same essential thing. Is just going in there trying to make the government efficient, even though we have more
Hmm.
plane crashes in the last
Yeah,
2 or 3 months than we had in the last 20 years. But
he appointed the wife of the owner of the WWE to become the Secretary of
and you know what she
Education.
did? She
Like this
fired
is
1,300 people. She cut the workforce by fifty
yeah.
percent in a day.
But what? But even so, even as destructive as that is, why would you pick her?
Hmm.
Why is she the most qualified person to do that? The wife of the owner of the
I don't
WWE.
think she.
That it just
It
doesn't.
doesn't make sense.
What
You're
was
right.
it?
It doesn't make sense.
It's literally like Warren G. Harding, who had a cabinet all entirely made up of like friends and like business leaders and stuff like that, and it's literally what led to the Great Depression. This the dramatic deregulation and cuts, and just cutting corners. Like the Dust Bowl was a product of like they were trying to too much profit that they were ignoring the science of like growing plants, and they're like growing plants too close together or something like that, and it was depleting the resources. They wouldn't skip, like, how plant farmers will like skip cycles of growth because it needs the plants to like regenerate its for the fertility of the soil and stuff like that. They were like skipping steps like that, and it led to like an entire like just dead field everywhere you go. Nothing can grow in like an entire middle of the country. So like we were having a major crisis when it comes to agriculture in the 1920s. That was just a contributing factor to the Great Depression and what led to that. And it's just an example of the kind of stuff that's to come that's unpredictable. There's so many different things. He cut the bureau. Was it this the CFPB? Is that what it is?
The
The Financial
Yeah,
Protection
yeah,
Bureau.
CFPB.
Yeah, and the amount of people that are going to get screwed over, the amount of massive wealth transfers from the poor to the rich that are going to come as a result of this. And we're going to have one person to blame it on. I mean, blame Biden for failing in this way, blame Obama for doing this, but Trump's causing so much destruction and distrust in our government that it's, I don't know. People are going to have to realize that you can be critical of government, you cannot trust government, and you don't have to be a fucking Republican. You know what I mean? Like, people are still under the illusion that big government is Democrats and small government is Republicans. I can't say Democrats are for small government necessarily, because that's not really a goal. They're for individual freedom and the freedoms that like democracy can provide. But we sure as hell know the Republicans aren't small governments. They're definitely the bigger government party in every facet. Like, they're definitely for bigger government than Democrats, even when it comes to the economy. Like, so Democrats, the difference between Republicans is they want to decentralize things. That's what they say, but what that really means is they want to take away like the legislature's ability to pass laws that regulate. You know, uh, it's both easier for like states' rights. It's both easier to get conservative agenda across the board if in some of the states, even a majority of the states, than on a national framework. So Republicans can't get the 60 votes they need in the Senate to filibuster proof. But what they can do with abortion or something like that is 25, 30 states, they can get the Republican legislature in those states to pass those things. So it's really just a losing mindset that leads them to these kind of policies. Is they ultimately want decisions to be decided by smaller groups of people. Democrats are Democrats. They believe in democracy. They think society should be one amalgamation, and the outcome of all the people deciding is what our society will be. They want to ask and have the most amount of people to vote, and they want it to be decided collectively, because that's what ultimately what protects the most amount of people. Civil liberties protections from a central government level. That's the opposite. The Republicans want to decentralize decision making so that the wrong decisions can be made, because only the dumb, economically selfish decisions could be made by uh, people that aren't affected by the decisions. Ultimately, people aren't gonna knowledge shoot themselves in the foot. They're not gonna. People vote for their own paycheck, which is why the people that are screwing over the countries are the ones benefiting from it. So, he's cutting bureaucracy, which just means government workers, because government workers have more power. When spread out, it's the workload is distributed and the decisions are made by more people. So when you cut half, 70% of um, the bureaucracy, the government workers, it's easier to replace the remaining ones with loyalists and people who can collectively carry out the Republican agenda. They're fundamentally anti democratic, they're fundamentally authoritarian, and that's why they need the most specific ways to power and control that they possibly can. And that they do not include the consent and the insight of the voters or the workers, anybody who actually needs government in order to get things done.
You're 100% right. I mean, we definitely have our system is right now it's being challenged. I think. I mean, I think Trump is definitely making us want to think about some of the rule books that we have in place. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
because our system has kind of worked and not worked 100%, but worked at least 70%. And now he's saying, hey, the system that we had, it no longer works. It's no longer effective. It's no longer the way it is. We're gonna
Yeah,
have to go to this system where it's a pretty much a deity where I'm the king and I make all the decisions and we follow my path, which is kind of
yeah,
never been done in American history before because we've been so stoked in tradition that it's very
yeah,
hard to envision a world through one's mind's eyes that the Republicans are doing right now, which is like, yeah, we don't care what's our values. Whatever that guy wants, that's our value. And it's like, okay, that sounds like a
yeah.
king. That doesn't sound like a party.
No, it's, I mean, United States traditions have always been based in classical liberalism. We're founded because of not wanting to be part of a colony. We did not want some foreign person. Essentially, that's what it was. He was a foreign leader making decisions on behalf of all of our people, and we don't benefit from that. We're not betting. We weren't benefiting from the taxes we were paying. I mean, it's not like the British Empire was protecting us. We weren't really at risk. I mean, we clearly had enough people that we could defend ourselves. They were just exploiting the United States. So we were founded on anti-exploitation. We were founded on equal liberties. Obviously, the rest of the world had not been caught up on women's issues and diversity when it comes to ethnic background, stuff like that. So it's not like
Seth, can you hear me? Seth?
the world. You hear anything I'm saying, or is the connection gone?
Yeah, you were gone for like 2 minutes there.
Damn. But I'm back now, huh?
Yep, back. I can hear you. You still that? Oh, no, you're not. All right, guys. Well, Seth's back. You back,
I
Seth?
can hear you.
Yeah, yeah, dropped off for a
That's
second.
yeah, that's weird.
Now you're back. Yeah, we came back.
I'll just edit around it.
Yeah, it's fine. Well, I mean, on that note, I mean, we had to cut it a little bit
Okay.
short today because we're going to be back probably this weekend,
Yeah.
um, for another episode. But we wanted to do a little preview of what's going on this weekend because we've been gone for so long.
Yeah.
But we have some great news. I mean, we have some great stuff we're going to talk about, and I look forward to this weekend and try to go into a little bit hyper topics
Yeah.
versus general news like we did today. So, I mean, do you got any final
I
words,
mean,
Seth?
as you were saying, if you wanted to give a preview, we should be talking to Justice Armstrong, which we had on the beginning of the podcast, like long time ago. But he's an anarchist, but like a left wing anarchist. So, he's not really a fan of electoralism in general because it's clearly not really democratic in our country. So I'm just interested in his entire perspective on this stuff because he's definitely from a left wing perspective, but he's not somebody with any faith in the Democratic Party. And that's very understandable. And I think that that's a perspective that cuts through most Americans. So I'm really in a direction which I'm not trying to care what conservatives think necessarily. Conservatives are pretty uniformly under the Trump illusion, but I'm interested in what the average American thinks and the nonpartisan Democrats think. And I think that's something that we need to address in order to move forward and grow bigger coalitions of people that stand against Republicans, not necessarily fall in line to Democratic partisan agenda, but you know, a big tent of anti-Republican voters and activists, as decentralized as we can get it. That is what we need. A real movement. We're seeing a lot with Bernie's oligarchy tour. We're seeing a lot of excitement and passion, and people are willing to show up for that. We just need leadership to an extent, and we need direction, and we need some sort of collective understanding that power relies still within people, and we get to decide to throw them out of power. We need to find different avenues of surviving without trusting the government, because right now we can't rely on the government for anything. Even in 2 years, if we get people into Congress that we need, there's going to be a lot of stagnation. So for the next 4 years, we're going to need to figure out a way around government in order to change the people in governments, in order to get aid and healthcare and to make money on our own. We need to figure out ways that we can take care of ourselves. It's not the best path. It's not the best path possible, but it's the best path we have. So that's something I think he'll have insight for. Pretty educated on agorism, working outside of the established economic framework or the established framework of power. So I think it should be interesting.
It should be, and I look forward. We're going to talk about it and go deep into the topic this
Hopefully
weekend.
my connection
So,
won't go in and out this time.
yeah, and hopefully um, I won't have any noise in my background. So, um, but yeah, so we just wanted to sign on, guys, just so because we know we haven't been on for a couple of weeks, but we definitely look like to get more in depth this weekend, different topics, so that we can play a little catch up. So we thank you guys for tuning in. For those who did tune in, and I promise we're gonna imagine more and give you more episodes. So thanks for tuning in. I appreciate
Everybody
it.
have a good week.